Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fees Dumpster Diving. This is where we plumb the depths of not celebrity gossip, which is what I usually say about situation. But this is where we go through the '80s, the '90s, the 2000s, maybe even the 1870s to find the worst things that people have produced and make fun of them. So, Mike, how you doing today?
Pretty rad. How about yourself?
Oh, good, good. We've got a good show here for you, I think, on dumpster diving this week. We watched a show that's kind of near and dear to my heart. I think near and dear to Mike's heart as well. It's the I believe one of the first programs on TGIF's lineup, Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, I think it was part of the initial lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it predates TGIF, but I think when they started the TGIF thing, it was I think it was like one of the inaugural shows.
Do you know if that's like when if you watch the really early episodes, like it's like a different concept. They work in like this kind of gift shop or like a almost
Yes.
like a what is like almost like a convenience store in the basement or the ground level of their apartment building.
Yeah, and they work for Mr. Carosi from Saved by the Bell.
Right, right. But then like later, and I feel this is around the same time they went over to TGIF because I initially just saw the TGIF ones and I never knew about the Magic Gift Shop.
Yeah,
But like when they went to the TGIF, like I feel that's when like he's like, oh, I want to be a reporter, and like he's like just starts working like the mailroom at the newspaper,
yeah, yep. I'm pretty
which
sure that's correct.
which I don't think is a great way to become a reporter.
No,
I mean,
I
it's not
want to be a
often that you
reporter, so I'll be near people that are writing the news.
right. I mean, you probably have to go to journalism school.
I would think so. Especially I think they're in the Tribune building, the Chicago Tribune, I believe.
I think so, or the Sun. I don't know. It's one of the what I think it's like one of the real ones.
Yeah, it's either the Tribune or the Chicago Sun Times, both of which you'd need a journalism degree, especially in this time period to
You
work in.
couldn't go directly to either of those. They're both
No.
like they pick up on like what's like a feeder like a smaller paper, and then it's almost like a unless you're like exceptionally good or like exceptionally good at getting a story, you're usually going to take a while to get to a big newspaper.
Exactly. Yeah, what he should have done is become like a supervillain where he either murders people or stages crimes and stuff like that and is the first one to report on them because he knows that they're happening.
That would work for a while.
Yeah, you would think so. He could have killed Balky.
Yeah, I don't know if he could have though. It would have killed the show.
That's true. Well, he
But yeah, for the
could have killed
I'm sorry, go
Jennifer.
ahead.
She was in one scene of this episode.
Yeah, yeah, they were not in it very long at all.
No. Oh,
I
what?
wonder if she still. I wonder if she still made her full check. That's what I always want to. That's the only. I want to know how the economics of TV shows work. That's what I want.
I've heard David Spade say it's the best job in show business is being on a weekly show.
Yeah, Artie Lang basically said the same thing. Like he
Hmm.
said he would like show up and like maybe do a couple scenes a day, and then like at the end of the week collect like a $30,000 paycheck.
Yeah, yeah. They you get this insane amount of money, even if you're just like even if you're if you're part of the main cast, even not like one of the stars, but just part of the main cast. Even if it's your like first job in show business, you get like 30 grand or 40 grand or something like that a week. And
And you work like half the year.
yeah, because what they do is they film. Usually, what they do is they'll film Monday through Thursday, and then Friday is the camera day. Camera blocking is what they call it, where the cameramen kind of figure out where they're going to put their cameras when they actually film it. And that's usually done with stand-ins, so you don't have to be there for that. And then you film it and you're done. Then it go. Then the next week goes again. But you so basically you work 4 days. Work 4 days. Then you get 3 days off. You work 3 weeks on, 1 week off. That's how. That's how it is. So you work 3 weeks and then you have a week off. So every month you have 1 week off, and then like you said, you work about half the year, and then you're done for the year as far as work goes. And yeah, it's crazy. Like I said, David Spade, who's done a lot of these jobs, been on a lot of these shows, say it's the greatest, it's the easiest paycheck in Hollywood.
I
And
think I think I heard one of the Wayans brothers on a podcast say, and this like shocked me. I think he said like, "Oh yeah, that episode was really bad that week. I almost felt like giving the 80,000 back."
oh
I'm like,
god,
I'm like, what are the Wayans brothers? Like, you always say like it was a big deal at one point for people to make like 100,000 like an episode, but like the Wayans brothers are making that. I'm sure each of them are making the same amount.
yep.
And then it's like, and they're like on the WB, and it's like it's on forever. Like it's like 5 seasons or something of that show, but I don't think I ever saw one episode and like was compelled to keep watching it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that advertising rates for TV are so enormous. That's how they can pay that those amounts of money to pretty much everybody that's on a show on TV, or at least this is how it used to be with streaming and everything that's going now. I'm not sure exactly how the economics work, but I'm pretty sure it's fairly similar to how it used to be. What's his name? Kevin Pollak, who's been on a few shows. He has a show called Kevin Pollak's Chat Show, and he tells a story about this is if for anybody that's ever wanted to be an actor or thought about being an actor or even just put yourself in this situation. This is crazy, but he says you'd audition for a role. So let's say like you're auditioning to be on Friends or whatever. Let's say you're Matthew Perry. Let's say you have a problem with pills. Um, but no, let's just say whatever. But you're auditioning for a show, and they bring you back. They're like, okay, you're one of the three people that we're still considering for the show. Apparently, what they do is they make you sign the contract before you do your second, your final audition for them. Basically, they want to know that if they offer you the role, you're not going to back out. So they have everyone sign the contract, and the salary is right on the contract. So he's like, it's the most nerve wracking thing in the world because you go there, you go in this little room, they give you this piece of paper, and they're like, okay, you like your lawyer or your agent or whatever's gone over it and everything. This is what we've negotiated and stuff. And it's like, here's how much your life could change if you do well in this audition. And it's like, then go audition. So that's nuts. Like, if you're like a struggling actor and you're like, okay, so if you do well on this, this contract says you'll get $30,000 a week for, the next year or whatever it is.
And then if you lose out and you see somebody else on there and they're clearly not as good as you, you just know they're making that much the whole
Oh,
time.
yeah. I know. It'd be
It's like
crazy.
it's like one of the like reporters for the someone on 97 won the ticket, the local talk radio station.
Hmm.
So they were like in the clubhouse once, like interviewing the Tigers, and like Brandon Inge like got his paycheck, and like when he opened it, he just smiled so big. And then if you think about it, I mean, like someone like Brandon Inge is was never a great player. I mean, he got to the All Star game, which was hilarious.
Right.
Um, but I mean, so like he's probably making a million or more a year. He probably made like 3 to 5 million a year at his peak, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would guess. Yeah.
So I mean, even that's like crushing this kind of salary because this is like about 600,000,
Hmm.
a year at the
Yep.
30,000 rate. But yeah, it's just nuts.
Yeah. They. It's.
And again, I always argue, why don't the studios just collude to pay them less? I mean, if no one pays more than like say $200,000 a film or $200,000 a season of a TV show, I mean, you're still going to have people showing up for the job because, like you said, it's an easy job.
You know what a big reason is, at least in TV, is the union. The union won't let them.
Yeah, that's got to make sense at this point. Yeah.
The actors union is one of the biggest the most powerful unions out there, honestly. And if the studios like they know exactly how much the studio's making. Like they know what the rates are for commercials, in prime time or whatever the show's airing. Or I'm sure with Netflix and stuff like that, they know how much they're making. Although who knows with Netflix, who knows how much they're making at all.
Right. For all you know, they were going with the Amazon strategy, just throwing money into a hole until you had the hole big enough for people to just like collapse into.
Yep.
So I think
Pretty much.
Amazon only really became profitable a few years ago, and a lot of that was their cloud computing platform. I think.
Hmm. Yep. Well, speaking of streaming services, I just got Disney Plus today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I was thinking about I was thinking about at least talking about The Mandalorian. I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's the big thing that's on there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm unless my children beg me to get it, I have no plans to. Even though I think I would, because you said it has Hulu, right?
Yeah, so what I did was I did the package deal with for $12.99, which is less than I pay for a little bit less than I pay for Netflix. I get Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. I was watching ESPN Plus today too, which is cool. They got all the MMA fights on there and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why I like the MMA fighting. But like I said, it's probably very casually possible for a child to just like suddenly start watching so they get their skull bashed in.
Well, actually, so they're different. So Disney, you have to sign in with the different apps. Like it's not
Oh, I
all
see.
on Disney Plus. Like
Gotcha.
it basically it connects the accounts so you can use the same password and an email address
Log in.
across
Cool.
across all the different ones. But you have to like to watch the ESPN stuff. You got to be on the ESPN app.
Oh man, I don't know if I have the energy to sign into 3 different apps. I mean, that's a lot of work.
You know what was a lot of work was sitting through this episode. A perfect
It
Strangers.
was very mundane episode. Oh, by the way, speaking of the complete opposite of mundane, I want to say happy birthday to my wife. I mistimed it.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot our last episode was actually on her birthday, but we're celebrating her
true.
birthday today, so it counts, I guess.
Yes. Happy birthday, Alex. Late, I guess, for this episode, but retroactively on the main show. Happy birthday then.
Yes. And this is before your birthday, so it counts.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. Timing on this is always fun with the
I'm not a
podcast.
wizard. I don't have a time traveling device.
Right.
I don't know how calendars work.
But yeah, so I look when I try to pick episodes of stuff like that, I think about different shows that we watched or different shows, you know, from our era of growing up, and then I go to a site that ranks them by from best to worst, and this was the lowest ranked episode of Perfect Strangers, but it's not horrible.
It's basically indiscernible from any other episode of Perfect Strangers.
Yeah. I mean, we've watched much worse than this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a very boring kind of episode. Couple things here. I think we should call this podcast "Vindicating Mike."
Okay.
Because when I was watching this episode, I had a theory.
Uh,
You know how Bronson Pinchot is always playing like like these characters with accents for some reason?
yeah.
Like he's from the United States, he's from New York.
Right.
But every character he plays has an accent.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking like this son of a bitch, Bronson Pinchot. He's so unethical, I bet he would play the Indian guy in Short Circuit. and then I looked up Bronson Pinchot. At one point, he replaced Fisher Stevens as the Indian guy in Short Circuit.
Holy shit!
But then he left the project for Perfect Strangers, and then Fisher Stevens got it back.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
I was cracking up a lot at that, yes.
I remember being totally shocked when I found out that the Indian guy from Short Circuit was not Indian.
Yeah, I never really thought about it at that age. I'm like, he's got an accent.
Right.
You can't fake that.
He's brown. But he is a
Yeah.
very white person.
He's so white he made a documentary about the whales.
Exactly.
And won an award for it.
Oh, congratulations, Fisher Stevens. But yeah, this episode, as you guys can probably
I hear he'll
tell,
be doing the voice of Apu if Hank Azaria ever retires.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Him or Bronson Pinchot. They might have to work it out between the two of them.
Speaking about people that make a ton of money. Think about how much money Hank Azaria makes for The Simpsons.
Yeah, that's probably a lot.
Oh God, those people. I mean, I think they make like, no joke. I think they make like $2 or $3 million an episode.
They might at this point.
The main cast. It's
It's
crazy.
it's kind of like a an MLB contract where like you just like you're really paying for it at the end, like because no one's I don't know who's
Mhm.
watching the show. I really don't. I'm not trying to be funny.
Right.
I haven't heard a person reference like having watched the show in years. I mean, it might just be my age group, but I think my age group would be like the prime audience for The Simpsons.
You would imagine.
I mean, my 11-year-old likes she likes the Halloween episodes and she likes the show, but she's not really going out of her way to watch
It's on Disney Plus now. Every single episode.
it. Wow, that's how dare you tempt me?
Yeah, my wife wants to watch it. She's like, so she's like, oh, they have The Simpsons, and I said, yeah, they've got The Simpsons at like every episode, and I went through, like because you can just like on like Hulu or on Netflix, you can click and it shows all the seasons, and it's got 1 through 30, and she's like, well, yeah, I'm not gonna watch 30 years of it. We'll stop when it gets shitty, like 5 6 years in or whatever. But she's like, I really want to watch it from the beginning. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's weird. Like the way I recall it is the first season or even two, they aren't like quite catching their footing, and like the
yeah.
third through maybe fifth, like you said, maybe the fifth season,
Mm.
maybe even like middle fourth, middle sixth, it could swing either way. Is when it just gets bad and it just never gets better and it only gets worse.
Yeah, I know it's weird.
Like for a while, even like the Halloween episodes we're talking about this because there's really not much to talk about in this episode.
No, not at all. I mean,
Uh,
once we start talking about Perfect Strangers, you're gonna see it's gonna be about a 3 minute conversation, and then we'll be done.
yeah, I do have some good. I've done some research for this one,
Oh, okay.
mostly involving inflation.
All right. Yeah, I know why. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, Simpsons. I mean, yeah, I like Futurama better. Futurama was more consistently good, I think.
Oh yeah. Futurama is one of my favorite shows ever.
I mean, especially the first 5 seasons. I haven't really watched the rest of it in depth to really, I mean, I've seen some episodes and I enjoy them, but I haven't really dug into it. But I mean, the original run of Futurama is like
Hmm.
probably my favorite animation of all time. For sure. I mean,
Yep.
South Park is good too, but Futurama is just like it's more enjoyable to watch than
I think the humor's more up my alley from Futurama, I think, than South Park. South Park's good, and I enjoy South
Yeah,
Park,
like
but
South Park. I just don't like when they get like super political, which is frequently.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I enjoy, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a lot of those episodes where it's like ripped from the headlines, but I don't care for it constantly. I feel like the ones that aren't like set from like the news are better in general.
yeah, me too.
But yeah. So in this episode, Larry, and this is weird because when I was looking at this is on Hulu, correct?
Yes, it is.
And now Disney Plus apparently.
Right.
But so that makes sense because I think the show was originally on ABC.
Correct.
Yeah, Perfect Strangers was the TJF. Yeah.
Yep.
But so the way this and actually I don't think just there's probably some people who haven't seen Perfect Strangers. Basically, it's like the classic fish out of water. It's um Markland Baker, I believe.
That is his
Yes,
name.
he plays Larry Appleton. He's a Chicagoite who, as we mentioned, first works at like a store in his building, and then later decides to become a newspaper reporter by working at a newspaper company.
Mm-hmm.
And his wacky cousin that he never knew of, named Balky from the country of from Balky Bartakamus
Mm-hmm.
from the country of Mipos, which I don't know if they ever really established where it's from. I can only guess it's from like the Greek kind of Isles, that kind of area.
Yeah, it's like it's supposed to. It's okay. So it's an island. I don't think they say what sea it's in, but I mean, basically, from all the things that they say, you can kind of glean that it's an island in the Aegean Sea off the coast of Greece. It's supposed to be its own independent nation, but yeah, it's a lot of like Greek, Albanian, that kind of Mediterranean, Eastern Mediterranean culture.
Yeah, I think what they did here was, I think it was actually pretty intelligent. They took a very broad swipe at like immigrants. They were making fun of immigrants without making fun of immigrants. If that
Yeah.
because they weren't specifically saying like, oh, these Greeks or these Italians or these
Mhm.
Polish or whatever. They were saying these wacky foreigners, and it's I mean I'm not from a foreign. I mean they're not specifically offending anybody, so I mean I guess really anybody could. I mean maybe that's what the allure of the character was, that you could enjoy making fun of foreign people without being
Right.
a xenophobe.
Right. It was Donald Trump's favorite show.
Oh, I bet.
Ugh.
But this episode takes place in 1989, which is very important to the plot because, and in the description on Hulu, that's what my point was at one point. It says his sister gets into a prestigious medical school,
Is that
but
what
that's
it
not the
says
case.
in
She
the
gets in.
thing?
Yeah, I believe that's what it said when I first looked at the description. Maybe it was
Wow.
like in the Google search. But yeah, but it's actually a musical school. Did they say it's Juilliard? I don't recall if they
Yeah.
specifically say. Yeah, so she got in, but she doesn't have enough for the full tuition, and she needs another $4,000,
Correct.
which adjusted for inflation, she basically needs another $8,000. And
Right.
he for some reason just says, "Oh, I'll pay it." He works in the mailroom at the newspaper,
It's so ridiculous because it's one of those things
and it's
that's
a character like you've never seen before or heard of
Mhm.
before.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things that happens on sitcoms where somebody else has a problem, in this case his sister, and he's like, "Oh, I'll make it my problem." It's like he knows he's on a show. Well, there's no cameras following you around, so I'll make it my problem so we can entertain the audience.
Or it's like the character secretly hates himself.
Right. Because I mean, I know it's his sister and everything, but if my sister called me up and was like, "Oh, you complaining that she got into Juilliard but she couldn't afford the entire tuition," my first response wouldn't be like, "Well, I can pay it with a bunch of money I don't have."
My first response would be, if you need $8,000, you didn't get into Juilliard.
I think, yeah, no kidding. I think
They would have given you a scholarship if they would need that bad,
I think your response would be, "I have a sister."
right?
But yeah, uh, so
So yeah,
yeah,
he's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and pay this $8,000 in like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that.
yeah. Yeah, she got a partial scholarship. So, I mean, I don't. What do you think? It's like you think it's about half, and I'm
I
guessing this
guess.
is a semester. What's she gonna do next semester?
Yeah, it's gonna be every semester. That's how it works, Larry.
Right? Oh, yeah, this is a bad plan.
Yeah, there's not a. I mean, I can't feel bad for him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he's like, he goes to his job at the mailroom,
Yep.
or that's probably like his annual salary or close to it.
Yeah, no kidding. In 1989, absolutely.
Well, maybe not that bad, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a big chunk of it, I'm sure. But yeah, so he goes back to derping around in the mailroom, and then Balky says some wacky shit. I don't know what he's talking about. And then Larry gets into a car accident with Balky in the car as well.
Yeah, they get rear-ended, and he threw his back out, and he's having a tremendous amount of pain.
Yeah, but he does say his back goes out occasionally. It's not a new thing to him.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to go to the chiropractor, but his sister suddenly needed 10 grand to open an ice cream shop last summer.
Right. But yeah, so he's eventually he works it out, and his back is better. And the guy that their boss, what else has
Mr.
he been
Gorpley.
in?
He was in a lot of things. He's in Forrest Gump as the principal who
That's right.
lets Forrest slide in after Forrest's mom lets him slide in.
Right, exactly. That's probably where I recognized him from the most. Yeah.
He's been on a lot of things. I like him. He's a character actor. This is probably his biggest role that I know of.
And as far as I know, he's not a
and most
dirtbag.
well known. Yeah, probably not. Unlike his character in Forrest Gump, who slept with a woman to let her mentally challenged son into school.
Right.
That's kind of the definition of a dirtbag.
No shit. Well, if I can get a
this-
shot at Sally Field.
Not even good, Sally Field.
No, like 45-year-old Sally Field.
Sorry, Sally Field.
We love you.
You're courageous.
But yeah, so he comes out and he says, "Hey, have you gotten a lawyer yet?" Because the
This
guy.
guy's he's like the typical '80s plot where you sue people for everything.
Mhm.
That was like a big thing. I mean, they always there was like everything had there was like a courtroom episode for some reason,
Oh yeah.
and occasionally there'd be like a special celebrity guest like Harry Anderson or Judge Wapner.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's that every studio had a courtroom set, and
Well,
they're
yeah, that's definitely a part of it.
and they were like, "Hey, let's use this."
And they had a couple of lawyers there who were trying to break into writing, like, oh well, we have an idea.
They figured, hey, we want to be television writers, so how are we going to accomplish that? Should we study? Should we, should we go to school? No, let's just hang around writers.
Yeah, some guys were, after Matlock ended, they were just kind of hanging around the studio.
Yeah,
They signed each of them a script for
Mark
a different show.
Lindbaker walks by him and he's like, hey, I got an idea for your show.
Oh, so hold on, I'm just gonna go eat over here in the courthouse. It's so peaceful here, I just go here to eat and think, each day at lunchtime. You have a courthouse set?
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so he advises, of course, to sue them, and then Larry's like, he tells them he could get like $4,000 to $6,000.
Yeah.
So it's all upside for Larry. At a minimum, according to his weirdo boss, who is an asshole, who suddenly knows the intricacies of the legal system.
Right.
It's at the very least, it's enough to pay his sister, and he could even have some for himself.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of that contrivance of a TV show or a movie where we need $10,000 to save the rec center. Oh, hey, this dance contest pays exactly $10,000.
Right. Yeah, so he gets like he gets a neck brace, he gets a wheelchair, and he decides to start faking it. At first, Balky is bamboozled with the rest of them. This is the brief scene with Jennifer and Marianne, as you described.
Yeah.
Balky is just like waiting on him hand and foot, like aggressively so.
Yeah. Like this is all he's ever wanted in life.
Like he won't allow him to do anything for himself.
And Jennifer and Marianne have got that giant 80s hair.
Yes. And then Jennifer, they're saying they're going to play, is it tennis or racquetball? One of those 80s, kind of sports.
Yeah, tennis. There's a big tennis tournament.
Yeah. And then she's talking about her outfit she's going to be wearing, which, what the hell is she talking about? I mean, I assume it's not going to be, like, to the point where he's, like, trying to get out of not getting $4,000.
I know, that was the most ridiculous thing, because she's like, oh, Larry, it's too bad we're going to have to miss the tennis tournament because you're hurt. And
Yeah, I kind of get the impression that as long as they've been dating, he's never seen her naked.
apparently that's what it seems like, because the friend is like, oh, and you bought that cute little outfit and everything. It's like, so it's got to be just like a regular tennis outfit, which sure,
Right.
they can be cute and everything, but
I mean, this tournament's not being thrown by Penthouse.
right, exactly. Like that was my thought process was like, why are you going to jeopardize this when in a week, when this is all over, you can sleep with her, anyway.
It was just such a little amount of time.
But apparently, like you said, I mean, I get the impression that that he's never even seen her legs above the knee.
Probably not. But yeah, so it's like a really weird. I was like, what? that's odd. But I don't know. Maybe they thought the show's being watched by children or something.
I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that would explain a lot about this. Like if this was a show that children were watching.
Well, it's funny because when he threw his back out, the woman that works with him too, she says, "I've seen a lot of backs get thrown out," and she goes, "In fact, I've caused a lot of backs to go out."
Right. That was fun too.
Oh man.
But yeah, so he's faking this, and Balky's like his personal surfing for some reason.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, Balky goes out or something, and he catches Larry making a phone call. Is that what it is?
Oh no, Larry has decided to mimic this is so dumb too. As soon as Balky leaves, he's decided to reenact what it would be like to play the tennis tournament
yeah,
with
that's right.
with his girlfriend.
Yeah, that was the most ridiculous thing ever.
And then Balky walks in because he forgot his keys.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, so then he realizes he's faking it the whole time, And then he's like, "Oh, you can't do this; it's dishonest." And then I feel like Perfect Strangers ripped off the Golden Girls a lot here.
Okay.
Because like they always had Balky like have this wacky story about like his home village. That was like clearly a ripoff of Rose from the Golden Girls.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
Mount
the
or
Golden Girls was
Saint Olaf. That's what it was, right? Saint Olaf.
actually, shit. Which one was first? Maybe the Golden Girls came after this. I'd hate to think that they ripped off Perfect Strangers.
I think the Golden Girls came out in '84, maybe. Like I think.
I think Perfect Strangers was like 83 or 82.
Let's see.
Wait,
I'll
no,
tell you
this
in a
is
minute.
season 5. It's 1989 and it's season 5. So it's like 84 at the earliest.
Okay, so they
No, it's 85.
the Golden Girls premiered September 14th, 1985, and Perfect Strangers premiered in March 25th, 1986. So
Okay, well,
they
that's
were
close.
they were a year after, but they were after.
I would have thought both were earlier than that.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, because yeah, '85. I thought that the Golden Girls was at least '84.
Yeah, I thought Perfect Strangers was at least 84 as well. But yeah, anyway, so he finds out that he's faking it, but Larry's made an appointment with the insurance adjuster.
Yeah, so many things didn't happen that I thought were going to happen. Like, for instance, I thought the insurance adjuster was going to come in there and eventually either find out that Larry was lying and be like, oh, wait, this guy was in the car with you, Balky, and be like, okay, well, we're going to pay you, $6,000 or like,
That's what I thought. I thought they were going to say, "Oh, this guy clearly had some kind of head injury."
yeah,
So,
exactly.
I for sure thought that was going to happen.
But it doesn't. Instead,
Yeah,
nothing
so
happens.
yeah, so Belky tells him this ridiculous story about his home village where this guy lied or something. I don't know. I kind of tuned out. It was very boring.
It was so dumb too because it didn't prove anything. He tells him this story about because he says so he's lied to the insurance adjuster. The insurance adjuster first the insurance adjuster's like, we'll give you $2,000, and he's like, I was thinking more like $3,875, which is the exact amount that he needs for
Right.
his
Which
sister.
is ridiculous.
And
Yeah.
the insurance adjuster's response is, "You drive a hard bargain." Okay. So it's
He responded so quickly, he would have got way higher than that.
seriously, he was like relieved that it was only that amount of money. But so Balky tells him a story about his like
Yeah.
some accordion player or whatever. His brother.
By the way,
Yeah.
we must mention that Belky and Larry are maybe 5 feet away from this guy at
Oh, yeah.
most.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'm surprised they're not bumping into him as they tell the story. He's
I
so
was
close to them.
thinking that the whole time.
That might be further than it. He might be closer than 5 feet. He is like right next to them.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine like your living room where there's like a couch and then there's a chair, situated, and then there's the TV. He's sitting on the couch. They're at the chair.
We don't have it. We don't have a chair. We just have a couch.
Okay, well, I didn't mean. I meant the listener's living room.
Just why would it be specifically me?
But anyway, yeah, they're talking about this story, and Balky tells him about this famous accordion player who's he got his start because his brother gave him a loan or gave him some money to buy an accordion. So he takes the money, he buys the accordion, he plays beautifully, and for years he's the most beautiful and well-known accordion player around. Then his brother eventually tells him years later that the money that he gave him to buy his first accordion was stolen, and all of a sudden he can't play anymore. He's not good. It's like, and he's like, so you see, I hope you didn't curse your sister like this guy cursed his brother. Well, he cursed his brother by telling him that he because I mean clearly it's just guilt. It's if it was the fact that the money was stolen or the dishonesty itself, like the universe was correcting something, then he wouldn't have been good from the beginning.
And he could have just paid it back and been fine.
Yeah, the whole thing was ridiculous.
And also, I think I the entire thing ends in a pun or something like that, like some kind of like wordplay. It's like almost like a really bad version of a Norm Macdonald, Shaggy Dog story.
Yeah, because the people are named, I think, like Balbo or something like that, and his brother's name is Bimbo, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Don't be a bimbo."
Yeah, that's like that was the whole punchline to this really terrible, long, unfunny joke.
But for some reason, this sways Larry. So he comes clean and says, "Oh, there's a chance that this could be a re-injury of something that I had before, and I wouldn't feel comfortable if I took your money." And the guy just laughs because he's from an insurance company, and he's like, "Oh, you're serious?" And he's like, "Okay, just sign this that says releases us from liability and everything." And then like he just chuckles and gets out. Like this could only happen in the 80s. This could only be an 80s resolution where the fucking clearly slimy insurance agent wins at the end of the episode.
Right.
It's so ridiculous. And then he's like, "Okay, well, I'll have to sell my car." And that's basically what the resolution is. So instead, Larry's going to sell his car to pay for his sister to go to Juilliard.
Which is messed up because for one semester.
Right.
What's messed up is Balky at first thought he was going to sell his car.
Uh-huh.
That's why I didn't assume Larry's going to sell his car.
Right.
That just says a lot about the relationship.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this episode not great. It's very mundane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm shocked that what we thought would happen didn't happen, but I mean, it wasn't anything amazing. It was just very you could probably written in their sleep theory,
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. This was a very autopilot episode of Perfect Strangers.
Like they might have done it in one or two nights, at the end of a week of writer's block, and then just went on a cocaine binge and just threw it all out there.
You know what I just realized is that every episode of Perfect Strangers is a bottle episode.
Is it?
So, well,
No, that's not correct. There's one episode, and this is kind of funny. I was thinking about this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But they go to L.A. and it's a two-parter because Jennifer and Marianne get kidnapped. But the funny thing about it is it's an exotic location. What?
They get kidnapped.
Something like that. Yeah,
That's
it's really
crazy.
weird. But the funny thing about it is that it's the exotic location they're in is L.A. So basically, they just went and shot exteriors, and they didn't do much different.
Right.
It's because obviously the show takes place in Chicago, but they were never in Chicago, I'm sure.
No, the only time they were in Chicago maybe was when they filmed the opening.
Yeah, maybe.
But they went to Mypos at one point too, but that looked like a pretty. That was also a two-parter. That looks like a pretty poor set. I mean, it's clear they didn't shoot on location in Greece.
All right. Maybe went to Catalina Island or something.
Right, maybe.
Yeah, I don't recommend this or any other episode of Perfect Strangers. Though I mean, I like the Mark Lynn-Baker. I like him; he's funny. Bronson Pinchot's funny. I mean, in parts. I mean, he the entire episode also ended on him saying is "Don't be ridiculous." Is it his catchphrase?
Yes.
They literally saved it for the last line of the episode, and the audience just
they
erupted
clapped
with cheers.
The audience fucking clapped and cheered.
They were probably whispering to each other, "They're not going to do it, are they?"
Right.
And then at the very last, it's like an encore, at the end of a show where they play your favorite song.
Could you imagine being such a fucking loser that you would be in the audience of Perfect Strangers, whispering to your friend, "Oh no, we came to an episode where they're not going to do it. They're not going to say it. Oh, I feel so bad." And then they say it, like, "Oh, you said it, yeah."
I read the Perfect Stranger zine that they're trying to make it have more impact, so they're going to say it less. Maybe they're going to start doing this episode. Well, we're never going to hear. Because there's more than one of these pairings.
Jeez.
My
God.
Perfect Strangers zine, America or Burst.
Right.
Which later became a right-wing website.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. Well, that's our episode for the week there. I don't know. Join us next time, and we'll watch something else.
Hey, did you know Bronson Pinchot was on Step by Step as a replacement for Cody?
No, I didn't.
His name was Jean Pierre, and he had a French accent.
Oh my god! Every time.
He didn't have one in what's that? True Romance. That's the one thing I can think of.
Oh yeah, he is in that. That's true.
And he was in some random '80s movie I saw too.
Even in Beverly Hills Cop, he had an accent. Oh, Bronson
Yeah, but yeah,
Pinchot. I wonder where you are now. Did he have a? He had sort of an accent in the Langoliers.
yeah, kind of. But yeah, I guess he was like redoing houses a lot. So he like had like a TV show that was him remodeling houses. I don't know what network it was on. But
Oh,
then I guess he like that didn't go so well. He had to file for bankruptcy, like a few years ago. So I don't really know what he's.
oh, poor Bronson Pinchot.
Maybe it was just the company. Let's assume that's what it was. I don't
Maybe
want to miss.
maybe ABC should bring back. They should reboot. They're rebooting everything else. They should reboot Perfect Strangers.
Uh, I don't know.
Let's laugh at
Probably
foreigners
not.
again.
Well, that would probably go over pretty well these days.
Balky's family could be trying to come over from Mypos, but they get put in cages near the border.
What if back in the '80s the government used to control control society by putting out these like little valves to let out pressure in society? Like there were people who were like racist, so they came out with All in the Family. So you could kind of like
Oh yeah.
people who are racist had something to enjoy, but that kind of like helped them like let off some steam.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Perfect Strangers, it was done with immigrants, obviously.
Wow.
Sure, I can think of more examples. Wake Up Sheeple.
And for Golden Girls, it was for people that wanted to fuck old women.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you next week. Bye.
See you next time.